All right, I move to open the meeting for tonight, Thursday, March 21st.
I make that motion, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No. That's done.
Okay, nope, that's good. Okay. You open the meeting.
Right.
And I do believe at this time, Deputy Supervisor, you're looking to make a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussion and seek legal counsel for the matter of Kent Hollow. And I do believe you're inviting your attorneys, George Lithgow and Ian Linders, and you are excusing the town clerk, and you have offered graciously to take the minutes during this executive session. Is that correct?
I graciously agreed to do what?
Take the minutes?
Okay. Yeah.
And is that you making that motion?
I'm making that motion.
Oh, that sounds great.
And I second.
Deputy Supervisor Ham?
Yes.
Council members Rebellard?
Yes.
And Ahern?
Yes.
And let the record reflect that Councilman Winters and Supervisor Blackman are absent.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to re-enter into public session. Right.
Return to regular meeting, yes.
Turned it around.
To end. Dawn, go ahead and do what you do better than me.
So you're looking to exit executive session and return to regular meeting, and the time now is 6:40. And that's you, Deputy Supervisor? That I can hear? I'm sorry, I was looking down at my book.
Yes.
And who seconded that?
I did.
Thank you. Council members Ham?
Yes.
Rebellard?
Yes.
Ahern?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now I have to make a motion to reconvene an executive session.
Oh, no.
You have something that you wanted to do?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We have to, I make a motion
Yeah.
to authorize George Lithgow to file a notice of appeal to preserve the town's right to perfect an appeal at a later time and contact the court regarding the Kent Hollow matter.
Thank you. And is there a second?
I'll second.
Nicole? Councilpersons Ham?
Yes.
Rebellard?
Yes.
Ahern?
Yes.
And now you are looking to, and let's invite everybody else, let's invite some of who's in the hall.
At a later date. Sorry.
And Leo can take over, open up.
Just go ahead and open the, you're going
to open up
to
a
return
public-
into executive session for the purposes of interviews. If you'll be so kind to make that
So we
motion.
already closed executive session, or that's still?
Yes.
Yes, well, they're in open meeting right now. So now you just want to go back into executive session.
Okay. I make a motion that we return to executive session.
Second.
I second.
And I did hear Brad first, I'm sorry. Supervisor Blackman,
Yes.
council members Ham.
Yes.
Rebellard.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
And the time is 6:42. In this meeting, sitting executive session.
Okay. I move that we open the official meeting of the Town Board of Amenia today, Thursday.
We are exiting executive session.
Oh, we have to do that first.
Well, you can
Darn.
make it in one. You're
Oh, I
looking
can do
to
it in
exit
one.
executive session
Okay, we're
and
going to
return.
exit executive session and return to regular meeting.
Second.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
And the time is 7:12.
So, yes.
Supervisor, you good with that?
Yes.
Okay, council members, Rebellard.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Now go ahead, let's,
Okay, let's salute the flag. Why don't we? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The emergency exits, as you probably know, are that door and the door you came in. You can do the roll call, Dawn.
Let the record reflect that Supervisor Blackman here,
Is here?
Deputy Supervisor Ham,
Here.
Council members Rebellard
Here.
and Winters will be absent. And our newly appointed councilperson, Nicole Ahern. Here. Yay, welcome. Thank you. You weren't expecting that. So welcome, welcome.
All right. We're having public comment. If anyone has any public comments, we're going to have it 3 minutes this time because we don't have quite as many people here in the room. So is there anyone who has anything to say? If so, go to the podium and state your name for the record.
Okay.
Anyone? Okay.
It's just probably take me like 3 minutes and that's it, hon, no more. As I reviewed on the New York State Gov, there are 83 adult use cannabis dispensaries across New
Oh,
York.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Say your name
I'm
too for the
sorry,
TV
my
audience.
apologies. Anna Vecchio, a resident of 5 Lake Amenia Road.
Thank you.
As I reviewed on the NewYorkState.gov, there are 83 adult-use cannabis dispensaries across New York State. I have also reviewed that over 54 or more out of the 83 are in city locations throughout the state of New York. Dutchess County, New York, according to Rockefeller Institute of Government, New York, marijuana opt-in or opt-out of 30 municipalities in Dutchess. 8 stated that they would allow dispensaries. These 8 are also not listed on the New York State adult-use cannabis dispensaries in New York State. Out of 30 municipalities in Dutchess County that would allow consumption sites are 4, according to Rockefeller Institute of Government, which were Fishkill, Beacon, Poughkeepsie, and Millerton. They have not at this time made any of them. They're still in correspondence with those municipalities. I think that this should be put on the ballot for a vote. Let the residents decide when there's such a heavy issue as this. I mean, you should know your vision of the town before you even have cannabis on the list of priorities. To me, it seems like you want to create a city-type area. From the data I gathered, this seems to be something that is put in a city area, not a town like ours. That is my opinion, though, not maybe other people's opinion. You should also have a professional speaker about cannabis if you decide on this end and then put it on the ballot. Now, my opinion is that the town should be a country town, as I stated in the past, in that vision, which is my opinion. I don't see a cannabis dispensary in it. I see a family country town where all families can gather as a whole and enjoy a nice day in Amenia for hours. My vision also includes lots of revenue for the town as well, lots of revenue. I think since we are a rural town and many don't want a city-looking town, that a country town would be a happy medium for the residents. I think it's very important that we keep Amenia a family town where everyone can gather. If you would like some ideas I wrote down, we can sit down and discuss at a later time. I also think you should get some suggestions from your residents as well, what type of vision that they would like to see for Amenia. Reach out to your customers, your residents, your taxpayers. I'm sure others would have some great ideas as well. Maybe you can't take every idea, but maybe out of 10 ideas, you may see somebody else's vision that you could incorporate into like a country kind of town. And I know you can reach out to others if you would like my input. I have done this for over 18 years.
Excellent.
I'll gladly volunteer myself if you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Any other comments? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. And I guess I'd do the supervisor's report. I wanted to let Nicole know how happy I am to the 5th seat filled. And I just, again, want to welcome you. Since our last board meeting, I attended an event that Katie had set up for recreation to get input on what type of programming would be of interest to seniors. Actually, 23 individuals attended, which was amazing, since there has been a kind of resistance by a lot of seniors to come to Town Hall because there aren't enough parking spaces that they can maneuver easily from. So it was informative, and there were a good number of suggestions, and I'd say that swimming, stretching, and more social activities seemed the most desired. I had a first meeting there was a first meeting of the Emergency Rescue Response Committee for Amenia regarding the responsibility of members. They will be meeting again. There was also a meeting with the president of Northern Dutchess EMS, plus the supervisors and fire chiefs from Dover and Northeast to begin a conversation about their expiring contract, the EMS expiring contract with the 3 towns. So it's a first step, but we're going to need to negotiate that before the fall. The highway garage. Labella Engineering just sent a draft of their expanded feasibility study. We had asked them to fill in some of the blanks that they hadn't done in their original feasibility study for the garage and the salt shed. I had a conversation with our town engineer, John Andrews, about preparing an RFP for the rest of the architectural work. He has one that he prepared for a municipality in, I think, Fishkill. So he can sort of use that as a model, and said it would be less than $5,000 to put the whole RFP together, and he can do it within the next 2 weeks, or at least have a draft in the next 2 weeks, so that's a good sign. So we won't delay that unnecessarily. For the water district, we requested quotes from 4 engineering firms to evaluate the condition of wells and water at Laval Road. That was something that our operators, VRI, had asked for. That includes proposing a testing procedure to determine if the surface water in the pond there is impacting the groundwater. And after review by Department of Health, if it would require treatment. After testing would provide, the engineer would provide engineering design for raising the wellheads, a new pump house, and would give us estimated costs. And we're hoping this work will be significantly less expensive than new wells on purchased property, which is where we had been heading. I also sat in on a water committee meeting with VRI, where they were discussing issues about meters and rates. Regarding the gymnasium floor, which we'll talk more about later, I met with Tracy Saladay, who's a local architect doing the gym floor project. She provided bids for a couple of options, and they'll be covered in discussion. On the subject of the cannabis opt-in, there'll be discussion around that too later, but we have contacted 4 planners to get quotes to do a draft local law and zoning amendment and prepare an environmental impact form. Town Hall interior. I've been hoping to better use the space in Town Hall, and after conversations with the ZBA and Planning Board chairs, we'll move towards holding their meetings in this room and using the Planning Board room for other things. If they meet here, it allows their meetings to be televised. There's also a storage room on the 2nd floor we can use half of for something else, either as a committee meeting room, which we don't really have, an employee lunchroom, or both, or an NECC satellite office. So there's a number of opportunities if we have a big room that's not being used 3 times a month and otherwise empty. Downtown improvements, I spoke to George Whalen, I think the 2nd and 3rd, owners of the Bank of Millbrook, about upgrading Fountain Square. They're going to talk to their landscape designer about the design that was proposed 6 or so years ago, and also they're going to think about their potential financial support. In terms of Wassaic, the center of Wassaic, the enhancement committee's plans right now are stymied by the fact that we don't have a survey of our property, that it's sort of, the trail goes cold in 1908. And I called Metro North and spoke to someone who is going to put me in touch with the real estate department, and I have to send some material, but they will check to see if they have any maps of the area, which hopefully will get us a next step on that. In terms of the financial director, Charlie has helped us set up our interest-bearing account with New York Class. We approved that at the last meeting, and we will be transferring funds presumably next week. He also did an interesting calculation on the impact of Silo Ridge and their lawsuits on our taxes. We didn't have that information before, and it's really, I think, essential for us to know how much they contribute, and also if there's a settlement, how that would impact everyone else's taxes. He worked with our accountant to submit our 2023 annual financial report to the Controller's Office, and he'll give a report on some other initiatives at the next meeting. The grant writer, I had my weekly Zoom with Brenna Robinson and provided her contacts for committee chairs or department heads in charge of each of our proposed capital projects that may require grant funds. And she's going to contact all those people this week to have a sort of starting conversation. I attended another of the Amenia Fire Company's pancake breakfasts last Saturday, which if you missed was very sad that you missed it. It's very important that they are able to raise funds as our all-volunteer first responders, so please support them and the Wassaic Fire Department next time you have an opportunity, and they even had chocolate chip pancakes. Earth Day is going to be celebrated here Saturday, April 20th. There's a number of activities planned by the Climate Smart Community Task Force, by the Conservation Advisory Committee, and the Amenia Garden Club. And there'll be more information on that at the next meeting. And last thing is I participated in, or I helped with a roadside cleanup on Saturday. It is astonishing how much trash gets thrown out of car windows. So not to be anyone's mother on this, but because I know mine would give me a slap in the head if I ever did that. But if people are going to throw trash out their window, it'd be really nice if they at least volunteered to pick it up on the days when we do that. And that's all I got.
Well, I had a question on the Emergency Response Committee. When was that? When was that meeting?
When was that meeting?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be 2 nights ago, but it was last night.
Oh, okay, because being on the liaison, I just looked and I had no notification.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had no notification
Okay,
of the
I'm
meeting.
sorry.
There was nothing. I just
Well,
checked.
we had about 2 minutes worth of meeting, so you didn't miss much. I'll make sure you're included.
Did you schedule a next meeting?
We didn't.
Did
We
not.
talked about.
So that next meeting, it's actually for Chris Howard to hold the meeting. He's the committee chair.
Okay.
We just tried to do it as an introductory for the newly elected supervisor and the 2 fire chiefs, as the 3 of that, 2 of them know each other.
So let's
They
just make
all
sure I'm
don't
in the
know each other.
loop as the liaison.
Sure,
Reach
no,
out.
I'm really sorry
Now,
about
well,
that.
tonight, once you guys approve all the committee liaisons, because they weren't really approved as of yet, so there wasn't really anyone. It was an opportunity for the supervisor to meet those key components. But then now tonight, after this, you can reach out to Chris and set it up.
Okay.
And thank you, that gives me that night off. He's going to do it. All right.
Glad to hear. Okay.
All
So I think you're up.
I am. So March 7th minutes, has everybody had the opportunity to see those? We were good? So anybody want to make a motion to?
No, I had one
Oh,
problem.
go ahead.
Just on the first page of the minutes, item number 1 kind of repeats, at the very beginning, repeats a couple of words. The very first, I think it's the very first sentence, there are 3 words that repeat.
That's nice.
Well, I mean, it's
Okay, no,
it's
no,
an
no,
easy-
where
it's an
is
easy
it?
thing to
Got it,
fix.
got it.
But
Okay.
other than that, I would move to accept the
Leo.
meetings, the minutes of the
It's
last
7.
board meeting.
Thank you.
I second.
Rosanna. Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Councilpersons Ham?
Yes.
Rebellard?
Yes.
Ahern?
Yes, can I? I wasn't here.
Oh,
No,
Yeah, right? The-
I'm
yeah,
here for the meeting.
that's true. She was abstain.
Abstain.
Ah.
I'm just like doing rips.
That's why I sit so close to her.
Okay, and then I do share with our tax collection. To date, the office, I have collected $6,548,244.29, $3,842.76 in penalty, with the remaining uncollected of $3,078,691.93. I'm also presenting this evening the abstract to pay claims and seeking authorization for the supervisor to do said payment. And the breakdown is for our general fund A, $115,073.08. Highway Fund, $27,025.52. Amenia Lighting, $1,283.84. Wasake Lighting, $475.04. Amenia Water, $18,256.54. Again, for a total being this month, $162,114.02. So at this time, I'm seeking authorization for the supervisor to pay claims.
Make that motion.
Leo?
I second.
Pam. Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Councilpersons Rebellard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Ahern?
Yes.
Also wanted to let the board know, I am in receipt of Nicole's resignation from the Recreation Commission now that she's been appointed to the board. So I'm looking for just the acceptance of that for a formality. With regret, of course.
Right,
From the
with
Rec
regret.
Commission.
I would move that we
Leo.
accept that with regret.
I'll
I
second.
second. Oh,
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Councilpersons Rebellard?
Yes.
Ham?
yes.
Ahern?
Yes.
Also, at this time, I am aware that the board had the opportunity to interview some candidates for the open groundskeeper position. Have you guys had the opportunity to discuss, deliberate, and make any decisions?
We have.
And that would be?
Rosanna has a motion.
I
Oh.
would make a motion to accept Richard
Howard Jr.
Richard Howard as part-time seasonal grounds person at $18.04, effective March 21st, 2024.
Thank you.
Wait, what?
I need a second.
Oh, I'll second that.
Leo? Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Councilpersons Rebellard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Ahern?
Yes.
Also sharing with the members of the audience, you guys did hear me that the board accepted Nicole's resignation. So I did take the opportunity when we were advertising for our other open seats to go ahead and add that newly open seat. So the town of Amenia is currently accepting applications for the Recreation Commission member seat. That will be a term that's going to expire this December 31st of 2024. We also have remaining seats open on our Water District, Wastewater Committee, and our CAC. If anyone is interested in serving on one of these volunteer positions, please send your letter of interest and your resume to myself at townclerk@ameniany.gov or by dropping that off at the town clerk's office. I did put it in the paper, sent it, and I'm asking that they be in by noon on April 3rd. That will allow me to then make copies and bring them and let you guys know at the April 4th meeting on how many applications we received and if we need to have an earlier meeting.
You haven't gotten anything so far on the committees that we've already put up, right?
No, everything that we had previously interviewed and advertised for, we filled with the exception of the water and the wastewater.
Right, but so you haven't advertised yet for the...
No, this went in last week after
Oh, it
you and
did,
I
okay.
spoke.
But we haven't gotten anyone
We have
yet.
gotten that.
Okay, thank you.
So we're out there asking.
Yeah, that's good.
We also went ahead and we had a quick conversation. I did circulate that we are advertising for our lawn mowing. You guys heard us talking about groundskeepers for Beekman Park, but we also need to get all the grass mowed. So that ad has been placed in the Millerton News. That our season is going to be April 4th through November 2nd of this year. I need to have all of the applications and their bids submitted to the office by Wednesday before, so we can have them and I can let you know, and at our next meeting, we can open those. So if anybody's looking for the 2024 lawn mowing specs, please reach out to me and I can email those over to you. I am also acknowledging receipt and circulation in our packets or by email. We have our operating statements, our balance sheets, and I believe in here was a building department report. We have acknowledging receipt and circulation for the month of February, $29,956 in the building department. He's provided to us a status report for his violations. And no other reports in our packets, but I do see that Highway and Recreation are present in the room. And with that.
Would you like to go first,
said-
since you're standing up already? Oh,
Then you get to go home if you go first.
Just a few things tonight. So summer camp registration is live, and you can register on our website, which is ameniany.myrec.com. It's $80 per week for residents, and then $125 per week for non-residents. I pretty much have all camp staff lined up and ready to start the hiring process, so we'll be starting that towards the end of April, middle of May. The Easter egg hunt will be this Saturday, the 23rd at 11 a.m. at Beekman Park. It is rain or shine. Bring your rain boots or a boat. I'm not sure which yet.
is there an age limit?
For you, Leo, no. You can
Thank
go.
you.
The Easter Bunny will be there. There'll be gold eggs, and there'll be gift bags and everything to hand out as well. We did apply for a grant for a playground down at Beekman Park a couple months ago, so that is in the process. I think we're supposed to be hearing in the next couple days if we received a grant. They were telling me March 25th. That was a tentative date, so I'm just keeping an eye out for that information. Again, our summer music series starts July 8th, and that's from 6 to 8 p.m. down at the basketball courts. And then the last thing is the seniors will be meeting the first Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m. here at Town Hall. Just kind of have a social hour, kind of talk about what's happening, if they have any other ideas, trips, anything that we are doing. So that will be the first Wednesday of every month here at Town Hall. That's it.
I forgot to mention something to you earlier, that in the gym, as a result of a very fast and foul pickleball, it hit
The lights are out?
It hit the board in the back covering the window to the kitchen, which then fell down on the floor, so it might need to be tacked back up.
That is a fine, Brad. You receive a fine for that.
I wasn't involved, I was a bystander.
I will take a look. I know there was also an issue with the lights as well in the
No,
gym.
it's-
so-
that's good, the lights are
The
fine.
lights are good?
Yeah.
I just have a question.
Yes,
The summer camp, it's from what date, July 1st to August 9th?
July 1st, August 9th, so it's 6 weeks.
Now, you have families who have jobs, and I just know
She needs
because I
to go to the
remember
podium.
from when my
She
kids were
needs to go to
young.
the podium.
I remember from when my kids were young, August 9th to September, when school starts, there's that large gap.
right. And you need to go to the microphone if you want to make
Oh, I'm sorry.
an official.
I'm sorry.
You can't do that.
I was just asking a question.
Don't let it happen.
So July 1st, as she stated, to August 9th is summer camp. But from August 9th, families struggle to find daycare, and leave their kids somewhere. So what are they going to do between August 9th until September, until school starts? They have to struggle and drop them here, drop them there. I don't think you want your residents doing that. I mean, I think maybe there should be something else, maybe an extension to that, or maybe something else.
Okay, thank you.
That's all.
Did you have more, Katie? Or were you done?
I'm done.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Katie, because I have to say the seniors were very excited to be invited and to sort of discuss potential programs for them.
Do you want to take this opportunity to clarify that even though we had it on a Tuesday, that we
Oh,
are-
yes. So my mind seems to be in 400 different places every day. So I did say multiple times at the meeting that it was going to be on Wednesdays, and then someone did point out that we did have the senior social on a Tuesday. So I kind of made a mistake on the days. So we're going with Wednesday.
Wasn't that to accommodate someone that was, I
I'm not
thought there
really
was a
sure.
problem
I
there.
had it wrote down as Wednesdays multiple times, but
Okay.
I
The
just,
timing changed to accommodate.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right, great.
Also, we are looking for volunteers, so if you want to volunteer, to help with senior planning or help in any volunteer activities, so if like sewing or knitting or something, you want to get a group together, we are always looking for people, so you can always just reach out to me, and I will be more than happy to take volunteers.
Terrific, thanks. I think that would bring us Megan, right? For the Highway Department report.
So our dirt roads are finally drying out. So we actually started grading some of them this week and putting down some more material. We've kind of been bouncing around a little bit with the weather. The rainy days, we've been out starting to sweep some of our roads where we can sweep it off and cleaning up some of our intersections. We've also done some pest training. On good days, we've been out doing some chipping some brush, cutting down some more trees. And last year, we started a blacktop project on Tower Hill. It was a dirt road. We put binder down, which is a base. Now we need to finish it. We need to put a top on it, at least 2 inches. It's top that goes on top of the binder, which is the base, and so that's really the next step for this road that we really should do. So at this point, I'm going to be sending out some quotes, try to get some prices, at least 3 quotes, and I'll have them for the next board meeting for April 18th. I'm just bringing this up now because we have new board members that weren't here when we started the project. I talked to a couple of you today just to bring you up to date how it started and how we got to where we are now and the next step. So hopefully next meeting I'll have prices and we'll go from there.
Megan, is there money in the budget, in the highway budget for that, or is that something we're trying to get?
CHIPS money.
You do have CHIPS money, okay.
I have money left over. I have 110,000 left. I saved to finish this project for this year, and then we'll receive the rest, more money this year.
Thank you for being so responsible.
So we'll see what the prices come in at, and like I said, we'll go from there. Last thing is, next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the 25th, 26th, and 27th, we are scheduled to start sweeping our roads. So we'll be around doing some street cleaning. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I assume there are no other committee reports? Okay.
Have someone read the...
Oh, the building department report.
Yeah.
Sure. The building department report from Michael Segelkin.
That was part of my report. We acknowledged the 29,000.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Didn't break it down. I just thought people would want to know.
Okay, well, there were 3 municipal searches, $660. There were 12 fire inspections, which comes to $950, and 21 building permits that gets us $28,346. And that gets us to that total of $29,956. Thank you.
Leo, I went to the Board of Ethics is having their reorg meeting on Tuesday, March 26th at 6:30 here in this room.
I'm sorry, Tuesday, what was the date?
March 26th.
Okay. Oh, right, very soon. Okay, terrific. Lovely. Okay, so discussion items. So these were things that I just thought needed a little fleshing out by the board. The first thing is the cannabis zoning issue. We had requested quotes from planners. The initial estimates we were getting were around $30,000. The planners said it would be more accurate. The price would be more accurate if we could agree on what kind of restrictions we're thinking of. In other words, the number of stores, the location, parking requirements, et cetera, et cetera. So, and it occurred to me also, we probably ought to find out before spending the money on a planner how likely one is to get a license, what the actual estimated tax benefit would be, and actually where the state is. I believe they've only issued 45, and they've suspended the program. So I think we do need to get some more information on that stuff. But do people want to talk about possible restrictions in terms of where these go and some of the other issues, or do you want to hold that for a later date?
Paul had mentioned on the phone about the setback of 500 feet. I don't know if we talked to you about that, and some of the restrictions, thinking that it would, 500 feet from schools or other
Oh,
places.
right.
Right, and it kind of sets up the whole scenario of not being able to have a place in the small street
In
to
commercial
have
area.
in a commercial area.
Right.
So it pretty much doesn't work. So he was going to suggest that it be 250 feet. That was one discussion. So
Is that something we can change, though? I thought that came
yeah, I
from...
believe we can. He would know.
No, you can't restrict beyond, you can make it more restrictive, but you
We can't make it less,
take the other
right,
way.
We
because that's
couldn't make
not-
it, we couldn't
No,
deal with the 250 feet.
no, state law is
State
500.
law.
Right, that's
for
state
schools,
law.
State law is
200,
500, we have to
I think
stay
it
at
is,
500,
place of
we could do more.
worship. You'd have to stick to those requirements. You can make it more restrictive.
Yeah, it's going to present a problem.
Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah.
my hope was that we could do it somewhere like in the center of town as as to get more foot traffic. But it seems like the only practical places would be like Freshtown Plaza or the little plaza north of that where there are open spaces and where there's a good amount of parking.
It's going to defeat the purpose of the center of town.
Well, I think having it in the center of town would be problematic anyway, because there is no parking. And, there are concerns about congestion at the red light to begin with. I think it just will make it more difficult. Also, there are a large number of students that disembark from the bus in the center of town, and that's a concern for me. And there are parks at both ends of the street, basically. There's Beekman Park at one end, there's the basketball court at the other. So, I think that...
And a
at Leo-
synagogue and a library all over.
and the synagogue and the library. And so I really believe that it should not be in the center of town. And as Leo suggested, if we were to go that direction and opt in, it should actually be in the plaza or someplace like that.
Can I say something? How far does it have to be?
We can't, I'm sorry, we really can't do comments except public comment, except in the public comment period because it gets too
I
confused.
just had a question.
That's all right. So, anyway, I mean, I think that there are some complications looking at it in terms of the restrictions we can't get rid of. And parking is another problem, which I don't think is part of the state code, but certainly could be an issue here. So one thing that we might do, or ask a planner to do, is just to sort of look at a map and see if there are any places, or sort of what's left if you take away those setbacks. So that might be a good thing to do before the next meeting if we can, so we can talk about that specifically. Does that make sense to people? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that's in here as a context map. Is that right? I think it's in here as a context map, that part of we're going to be laying this out.
You mean in the state regulation?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know what you were referring to.
Right here.
Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The state regulation, yeah.
Okay. All right, item number 2. We're going to, this is going to be a resolution later, but I wanted to see if there are any questions. The Harlem Valley Association has been working for a number of years on a water management plan for the 10-mile river, and we're just being asked to sign a letter of support. HVA is trying to get a big federal grant to clean up the Wasaic Creek oh, I thought you were waving something at me, never mind. To clean up the Wasaic Creek, and part of that involves the Rec Commission, because the Wasaic Park Plan is kind of dependent on what happens along the edge of the Wasaic Creek. So I sent to the board members an incredibly lengthy report, but I think the gist of it was really just that they're trying to clean up the edges and deal with flooding issues. So my recommendation would be to sign a letter of support, but I just wanted to see if there was any conversation before we
I
actually
had a
move to vote.
question, and this is in fact, Ian, in fact, creating a district, a watershed district? HVA?
You mean
I don't believe it's forming a district. I think it's just
It's a
part of
letter
a
of
management
support, that's
plan.
all this is?
Yes, my understanding is it's a letter of support that doesn't obligate us, and it's been signed on by a number of different municipalities.
Right, that's my only question,
Yeah.
of whether or not it's creating a district or not for a watershed
I mean,
district.
I didn't see
Well, you
that
wouldn't
in
be able
the
to create a
stuff I
district
read.
just by signing on like this anyways, but
I'm sorry?
just by signing a letter of support, this wouldn't be how you would form a district
Okay,
anyway, so.
that's my only question,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or thoughts? Okay. The third thing was the striping of Town Hall parking lot, which Brad has been reminding me on a very regular basis. In the original agreement the town made with Stone Leaf to allow their employees 11 parking spaces in the lot, they assumed responsibility for painting the stripes and clearing snow. And at least a year ago, Megan and I met with them to review the original plan, and it hasn't changed very much, but we couldn't locate the final version. Ian actually found a copy, and Stone Leaf, sent that to us again, and the only suggestions I'd made to them were two. One is that I thought that their signs, the signs at each space, should actually list the hours that are in the contract, which is 7 to 5. The parking is not guaranteed after 5 p.m., and that the spots all be on one side, the side of the parking lot away from the road, so that from the road you could actually see what spaces were available. And again, that's something that will be well, it's just a discussion item, actually. I don't know, I think I'd like to give them a go-ahead while it's spring, but I'm not sure if we need to, is that something that requires a motion, or do we just have to, in other words, to just approve them doing the work?
We want to formalize a plan and then
Okay.
have a resolution from the board
Okay.
in consultation with Highway.
Okay,
And have that approved by the board.
Okay.
And with that plan, everything will go to Stone Leaf, and then they can
get started.
paint, and they can start doing what they got to do.
So I think what you had suggested when we spoke was that the striping issue and also the gym floor issue should probably be resolutions at the next meeting, which is why I wanted them to be discussed, just so people had a heads up.
Yes, so if there are comments on the parking lot, or if this is
I have a comment when you,
well, the board, I think, should decide that if this, on the plan that they want, and if they're comfortable with the plan, then I'll prepare a resolution for next meeting for that. As far as the replacement of the floor in the gym, if we have quotes to do so, I don't know. the
They're
ballpark cost.
not complete. I'll give people an idea of what the numbers look like and what the options are.
Okay,
But-
then
but-
if we have the quotes, get me the quotes, and we'll prepare a resolution for the next meeting.
Yeah, right. Okay, so,
So
all
we're
right, so
agreeing, we're
people's
agreeing to do
suggestions.
have a resolution drawn from Stone Leaf and the town for the striping.
A resolution from the town to just give Stone Leaf permission
Right.
to
So we're gonna-
proceed. And I know Paul had a concern about which parking spaces they used, and then I explained why I thought it was important to have them here. Seemed to be okay with that. I don't know if the rest of you have
well,
concerns
I'm
about
wondering
that.
why.
I thought that explanation was fine.
Oh, okay, thank you.
But I'm wondering why, these parking spaces seem like they're closer to Stone Leaf.
They probably are. I just thought it would be good if when you were driving by the road, you saw that there was open space. The way the cars are parked now, it's very hard to know how much room there is in there. And yes, if it was the other way around, it would probably put people closer to Town Hall and closer to Stone Leaf. But because the seniors made such a point of feeling like the entire lower parking lot is too far for them to travel to get into Town Hall, I figured that that wasn't as important. But,
And the stairs.
oh, right, and that the stairs, right, the stairs are uncomfortable too, are a problem also. But I'm willing to reconsider that.
No, I'm just wondering, it seemed like it would make more sense to have stone leaf parking spaces closer to them and
Yeah.
are closer to us, but.
Nicole?
Yeah, I just had a question. Who came up with the number that they get designated to 12 spots or 11 spots?
Well, it actually came through the planning board, which did a very weird calculation
Okay.
in terms of figuring out how many spots they needed and how many spots were available,
Does
because
this go off of what they currently use? Because I feel like there is a lot more than.
I think there probably are, and that was another reason I thought it would be simpler if they were at the back. I mean, not that we can identify
Well,
what
that's
their
what I'm saying,
vehicles
like,
are.
okay, we give them 11 spots, but how do we keep them from,
I mean, there isn't a way unless we actually use a state trooper, which I thought was a little over the top.
Definitely, yeah.
They're also not allowed to actually park trucks in that lot, and pretty much everything in there is a truck. So,
I've noticed they've tried parking in this manner now, and it's very tight in there. I'm not sure how this is gonna work even with this many spots.
well, I mean, they did stripe it, it kind of has worn off since, but they did stripe it. How long ago do you think that was, Megan? No, it wasn't that long
It was
ago.
2 years ago.
Maybe a year and a half.
I think it was, yeah, I think they,
It was
Yeah.
2 years ago? Well, no
That's-
wonder it's worn off. And
That's
they've
why I
been-
keep bugging you about
I
this.
know, and they've been using it for, I mean, they used it for a while, and it seemed to work. And Megan, you were okay with the layout, I mean, because we both reviewed that, right? 2 years ago? So,
Yeah, we had a school bus come in.
yeah,
I've
they
gone in there
tested
and
with
turned
it.
around. I've gone in there with a big bus and turned around. Yeah.
Oh, so you can, all right. Well, there's proof. I'm really excited to have firsthand information
You
here.
can do it.
Okay.
The one ways definitely help with that, making it only enter and exit.
There's no marking.
And actually, now that I look at it, it isn't shown on this plan, so I should just remind them of that.
Right.
I mean, it was on an
It
earlier
says to
version.
remain, but, right.
Yeah.
But it's not on there.
Okay, those were the only questions I had, is just that I felt like they were,
Nicole, it may be helpful if I forward you the agreement as well.
Okay.
I'll send that to you so you have it.
Perfect.
If you have questions, you can call me on it.
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the parking spot, the planning board actually allowed them to count spaces in the Four Brothers parking lot towards the number of spaces they needed, which I thought was incredibly
Oh, okay.
weird, so. Okay. Arrows. Okay, and the last thing was the replacement of the gym floor. So you're probably all familiar with the fact that the tile floor in the gym is cracked and not very stable at this point. And since it's used for a variety of events, pickleball, line dancing, summer camp, et cetera, we need to fix that. It's been put off for a while. Victoria last year had asked 3 vendors for prices and got quotes, but 2 of them were for strip vinyl, but it wasn't very specific in terms of what the specifications were. So I had suggested that we hire Tracy Saladay, who's a local architect, to prep kind of consistent specifications and rebid it. And she did that. She found a product. Oh my God, I have a whole exciting presentation behind me. So the first thing they did was they actually, John Nowak, our facilities manager, drilled a hole in the existing floor. And what we found was that, it's a little coming apart, but it's all loose pieces. But what we found was that the top layer below the tile was a 1/4 inch of plywood. And below that, there was, no, this is out of order. That's what happened. Okay, sorry, I did that wrong. There's tile, and then there's, oh, no, that is right. Let me try that again from the beginning. Okay, so the top layer below the tile is a 1/4 inch of plywood. Below that, there's a solid maple floor, which was the original gym floor. And below that, between the floor and the slab, there's another 1/4 inch of plywood. So I had said when Tracy started looking at this, well, why don't we also ask how much it would cost to strip off the upper layer and just sand and refinish the original maple floor, which is pretty thick. I mean, solid maple. So she asked for prices on that too, and the prices that we actually got, I'm sorry if this is too much into the weeds, but I figure it would be good to know. It looks like the cost of the just stripping and refinishing would be $27,000 for the floor, for the maple floor. The prices that Victoria had gotten for vinyl floors were, I just saw that. Oh, come on, there it is. We had gotten, there were 2 vinyl floors priced One was $46,000 and one was $55,000. And the concern with the vinyl floor was that it comes in strips and the seams have to be welded, that they can't guarantee that it'll hold up to point loads like chairs and tables. And there was another concern too. Oh, and that if it wears out, and of course with this kind of flooring, the layer that's actually, this is vinyl on top, and below that, so the vinyl is very thin, and basically if you wear through the vinyl, there's no way to patch that. So Tracy found this material that is called it's called 7+2 MF Herculon, and it's a very different kind of product. It's they put down a rubber underlayment, and on top of that there's a poured floor. The poured floor can be patched with more of the material, which they give us, and it's soft because it has a fairly thick pad below it, so it works pretty well for sports activities and dancing. And the price to do that was $39,500, so it's still less than any of the bids we got for previously, including a $60,000 bid to put a new maple floor on top of the plywood, or on top of the vinyl, which was the most expensive and seems sort of silly since you'd only have to go down 1/4 inch to find the original maple floor. So the deal with the original maple floor is that we'd have to do some openings. We'd have to take up some of the thin plywood to see if it's in good shape. If it's in good shape, we could go ahead with that, and if it's in bad shape, we would be stuck with some other kind of surfacing. But I think the rec committee would need to, weigh in as well and let us know that they're happy with a maple floor instead of a kind of newfangled floor.
I was with you when we met with her to look at that, and I liked that material.
Yeah, I think this is great too.
What was the
It was
longevity on
less.
that?
I think it had a 25-year
Okay.
warranty, but it was a pretty long warranty. Maybe it was 30.
Okay.
But it seems like a really good product, and it kind of goes edge to edge, and there's no seams. So there are a lot of reasons that this is probably the best way to do it. I mean, obviously the maple floor can be refinished too, and can be sanded and refinished. But I don't know that it's as comfortable for all the activities. I mean, obviously
Our
I've seen
knees will thank
pickleball.
us.
Huh?
Our knees will thank us for that.
So-
Our knees will thank us.
Oh, your knees will thank you. Yes, I'm sure they will. So anyway, we can put together a resolution, but I wanted to see if people had strong opinions about which way we went. We don't have the final numbers either, and I'll send that to you before the next meeting.
Leo, based on the numbers I'm hearing, Leo, this is going to be, based on the numbers that I'm hearing,
Yep.
your procurement policy is going to require this to be formally bid.
The only problem, and I think there's an exception to the procurement policy, is this material has regional distributors. So we can't actually get other bids because there's only one person that
This
does
is the
this
sole
here.
provider, this is the only person who can produce
And they're only
this.
the people that make it. I mean, there's only,
Okay.
the company that
Okay.
makes it, it's the only product like this, because Tracy did look for others so that it could be bid properly.
Okay, excellent.
And the installer is the only one in this region because they forbid anyone else
Okay.
who sells their product from an installer. Anyway, I would assume that what you could do, Ian, if you wanted to, is set up a resolution without the specific maker and without the specific price, and I'll send all that information out before the next meeting. We were pretty close to having final numbers, but they just weren't clear enough.
Perfect.
Does that work for everyone? Okay. And any immediate preferences that I should know about, other than Nicole, who made that clear? Brad?
Oh, no.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand.
No, I was thinking, sorry about that.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I just want to research that product to see how.
Yeah, I'm sorry, did I give you the name? It's,
Yeah, I have it.
7+2 MF
So
Herculon.
my only question is, what uses that surfaces can be used for, right? Are there restrictions? That's the only thing.
well,
Yeah.
with this
Yeah.
product, seemingly not. I mean, the vinyl, there were issues about, like, using it for basically non-athletic purposes, like just having tables set up if there's an event in there, like they used to do the farmer's market, and they're doing the Earth Day event. It isn't guaranteed for that sort of use, and since that seems like an unlikely alternative use, I thought we should have, we should look for something that can serve both.
Right.
So I think, I feel like pleased, I think whatever way we go here, but I think that product seems particularly appropriate. Okay.
Can we add any discussion items or no?
Oh, yes, you said you wanted to, and I forgot. Sorry. Go ahead.
So there's a concern about the crosswalk in front of Maplebrook School there.
Yep.
There have been some, kind of close calls. There have been some accidents there, not really related to the kids crossing, but it's kind of a dangerous spot.
Yep.
I spoke to DOT. They said that they could put up radar speed signs and also rapid rectangular beacon lights there. But if they were going to do that, they would need a letter of support from the
Okay.
town board
Yep.
to do that, or a copy of a resolution saying that the town board approves that.
Okay.
Okay? Not only is it a bad spot for the crossing there, but it's really, there are bus stops there.
Oh.
And that over the hill, so like even that the radar speed signs might be helpful before that, so that cars slow down, because, people come up over that little, it doesn't seem like it's a very big hill, but they come up over that, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things that I would like to look into, and I don't know how we go about doing that.
Well, I haven't had a meeting with DOT yet, but one of the other things I was thinking of was using the radar speed signs on 22 and 343 when you come into the hamlet of Amenia. That's a weird situation because there's sort of a gap between Maplebrook and where the houses get denser. So it's slightly, there's sort of a gap there. But I was thinking that it would be a good idea to have an actual regulation slow down sign with a speed limit and something that tells you how fast you're going. Because I certainly know when I've encountered those driving around, it makes me very aware of how
So
fast
can we have, then we would have to make a resolution to support them in that? Is that the way it would go?
If they want a resolution for it, then yeah, I would do a resolution.
But does Maplebrook have to be a party to this? I would think they
I
do.
actually spoke with the head of school, Dr. Jennifer Scully,
Yep.
and she was thrilled that we would
Okay.
even look into that,
Well-
because they hold their breath every time there's a crossing there.
Okay, well, we should just make sure that they also send a letter of support so it's,
Right.
clear. But,
Do you want them to send a letter of support to you, or do you want them to?
well,
or
to town hall to be part of this.
Okay.
I mean, just so we can send
All
it
right.
with what we send.
Also, I also had a thought that perhaps when we interview for positions on board committees, that we include in that interview process the chairs of those committees to preclude any kind of issues that might come up.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, Katie was sitting in on the.
And that's what made
the
me think of
previous-
it, actually.
Yeah.
So I think that the chairs might be involved, and I don't know if we need to change any laws or do anything to do that, what we need to do that, or just invite them. I don't know how that,
Just invite them.
just invite them. Okay, and just one last thing. We had spoken briefly about having planning board alternates.
Right.
Attendance is a problem, and so, and there are a lot of big projects coming up
Yeah.
that are coming before the planning board, and I think we have to make sure
And
that.
the planning board chair was happy to do that. I mean, he thought that was a good idea. So that does require a local law, doesn't it, to change the number of people on the planning board? To have 2 alternates on the planning board, we would need to do a local law, I think.
Yeah, and you and I have talked. I have some drafts on
Okay,
to
good.
adjust that already.
Okay, great.
And you already have a local law in place to enforce.
zoning.
Well, to enforce your attendance
Oh,
and
right.
training requirements.
Okay.
So there are grounds to remove people for failure to comply with those.
And is the
And there's a
board able to
procedure
do-
set forth in the code, which I can actually circulate to the board if they
That would be
want.
great. But is the board able to do that, or it just has to be done by the committee chairs or board chairs?
No, the board.
The board does it. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. All
The board
right.
would have the authority to remove.
Okay, so I'd be happy for you to proceed with the Maplebrook
Okay, so
crosswalk thing.
I will contact Dr. Scully tomorrow and ask her to write a letter in support of the town board supporting putting the beacon signs and the
Yeah.
radar.
And if you tell the people at DOT that you speak to that we might want to talk to them about a few more of those radar signs. Are those permanent, or are those just there permanent, temporarily?
I'm not really sure about that. But
I would
also-
imagine the beacon things are permanent, but I don't know about.
Yes, and, you know, and other schools have them, you know, Hotchkiss has them, you know, like when the school's in session, you know, you have to slow down and all that. It's a very scary place. I come out of there in the afternoon when the students are crossing, and it really is pretty scary. So yes, so I will talk to Dr. Scully,
Okay.
hopefully tomorrow.
All right.
Well, I had a follow-up question on the traffic light in
Sure.
Amenia. What I remember from a meeting is that you had met with DOT and they have changed the timing on between when the light goes green from red.
They give 10 seconds where it's red in all directions.
Well, it's not working.
Really?
No, it is. I was working when there was somebody
The
there.
other night I was there coming from 343 from Sharon to Amenia, and it clicked immediately. It didn't do the 10 seconds.
It only does the 10 seconds when somebody's there to push the button.
Press the button.
Yeah, they have to push the button.
Oh, so I misunderstood that.
So
Oh, I'm
it's
sorry,
only
yeah.
only when there's a pedestrian
So-
that wants to cross.
So it doesn't change the overall operation of the light?
Right, it doesn't
Right.
help with the turning problem. It only
Okay.
addressed the crosswalk.
But it just means that if someone's trying to cross because it's such a long
That's
crossing,
what I remember was the
Gives
turning
people time.
problem.
Right.
Yeah, which wasn't resolved.
Right.
God bless you.
and we will talk to DOT further about that, but
Yeah.
I was trying to gather all the various
Yeah, that's
parts
the
of
issue,
that.
because, yeah, it just went.
The DOT also brought up the fact that they can't have a turning light there because there is no room for a turning lane, and that it would just make it more congested through there.
However, I think I have heard many complaints about how quickly people move on 22 and to a lesser extent, actually 343, the length of Main Street, people tend to speed to, and there are solutions to that, so I would like to get DOT involved because I get an earful on that subject, and it would be nice if we could,
Well, if you
if we
sit
could
there
do
in the
something
morning
about it.
when those tractor trailers are coming through, if that light is green and they're, you know, the north-south, it's
Yeah.
pretty
All right.
scary.
Well, I think there are solutions, so we'll get on that. And Ian, you're gonna put something together on the planning board alternates? Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll circulate the procedure for removing members for failing to comply with
Okay.
training
Oh, great.
and attendance requirements, just so the board has it.
Oh, my lord.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, that's great. So let's see. The only motion we have tonight is to assign Nicole to her committee, I mean, as liaison to particular committees. And since she was the last one in, I thought we should, give her an opportunity to move things around a little bit. And that is in our package, so let me just pull that out. Somewhere in our package. Okay, here it is. Does everyone have that?
Yep.
Okay. So what we had suggested was that, or what I had suggested and sent this around, was that Nicole very much wanted to be the liaison to the Recreation Committee since she was just chair for 2 months. And so that would replace Paul. Paul would, there's a lot of shuffling. Paul would replace Rosanna on the Housing Board. Is that right? Yeah. Because Rosanna had too many committees, and I think her head was going to explode, even if she said it wasn't. And then Nicole will also fill in the 2 places that we're basically waiting for the new person to be assigned. That these are committees that haven't been assigned, which is the Conservation Advisory Council and the Industrial and Commercial Incentive Board, which is a very good one because it doesn't meet very often. So.
And I
nice
think
work.
CAC just met last night, didn't they?
I'm sorry, what was that?
They did.
They met last night?
Yes, I thought so.
All right, well, I would have moved the meeting up had I, our meeting.
No, that's all right.
All right, so I move that we make those changes so Nicole can be liaison to those committees.
So we tabled the entire motion back at reorg. So if you want to just let everyone
Oh,
know.
I have to untable it.
So motion is that you are accepting the town board liaison appointments to the standing committees, boards, and commissions as noted. So Recreation Commission will be Ahern, Amenia Housing Winters, Enhancement Committee Rebillard, CAC Ahern, Emergency Response Safety Committee Rebillard, Ethics, Board of Ethics Ham, Wastewater Committee Rebillard, Industrial and Commercial Incentive Board Ahern, Comprehensive Plan and Review Committee Winters, Planning Board Ham, ZBA Winters, Water Committee Ham. Alternate to all standing committees, Supervisor Blackman.
It's like miscongeniality. Okay,
You're-
so we have to, do I have to,
So you're making that,
I was making that, yes, I'm making that motion.
I'll second.
Brad. Thank you, Brad. Supervisor Blackman,
Yes,
Council Members Rebillard.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
And Ahern.
Yes.
okay. And remarkably, we only have 2 resolutions tonight, which are also in this pile. Okay. And Dawn needs to give me the number.
You're starting with resolution number 45.
Okay. Resolution number 45 of 2024, adopting 10 Mile River Watershed Management Plan. Now therefore it be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia does hereby adopt the 10 Mile River Watershed Management Plan, and be it further resolved that a copy of the 10 Mile River Watershed Management Plan shall be kept on file in the office of the town clerk. I will make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Blackman,
Yes?
Council Members Rebillard.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
And Winters is absent.
Okay, the next one is 46, I bet.
Yes.
So this involves the signs that James Ollinger has been very excited about installing at the 4 entry points to Amenia, which are back there, which actually, would you hold that up for a second? There you go. And there's one behind it, which is a close-up of the sign I just saw. One somewhere in there. There we go. James has been collecting quotes on that, and he has 3 quotes for the signage, for creating the signs. The graphic designer part is exempt because it's professional service, and he has one quote, but needs to get 2 more for the frame that supports the sign. So hence, resolution number 46 of 2024, authorizing purchase and ratifying design of new Town of Amenia welcome signs. Whereas the Town of Amenia Town Board is seeking to update their Welcome to Amenia signs, and whereas in compliance with the Town of Amenia procurement policy, 3 quotes were sought for the purchase of 4 new Welcome to Amenia signs, and the following quotes were received: from Fountain Press, $7,900, from Fast Signs, $9,467.93, from Skyline Laser, $2,380. And whereas Skyline Laser submitted the much lowest quote for the 4 signs in the amount of $2,380, and whereas the design of the sign was made by Question? No. While the design of the sign was made by D.MO Design Limited at a cost of $2,000, and they're in Millbrook. Whereas professional services or services requiring special or technical skill, training, or expertise are exempt from the bidding requirements under General Municipal Law, Section 103, and the Town of Amenia procurement policy. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia has determined it is in the best interest of the town to authorize the purchase of 4 new Welcome to Amenia signs at a cost of $2,380, and to ratify the cost of the design by DMO Design Limited in the amount of $2,000. Now therefore it be resolved as follows: the recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. The Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby authorizes the purchase of 4 new Welcome to Amenia signs from Skyline Laser in the amount of $2,380, and ratifies the cost of the design of the signs by DMO Design Limited at a cost of $2,000. 3, the Town Board hereby determines that the design of the signs is a professional service and therefore is exempt from the bidding requirements under General Municipal Law, Section 103, and the Town of Amenia procurement policy. The funds will be paid from the
Building, EQ, FY22, budget line 16202.01.000.
Wow, I'm glad I didn't have to do that. And 5, the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute any and all documentation necessary to effectuate this resolution. And I'll make that motion.
I second. You have a question?
Do you have a question?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes?
So in this, it shows that Crispy Shorts was getting paid for welcome to Amenia signs, but here we're paying,
Right, because
Yes,
I understand,
James.
I understand that that's James Olinger who's sort of
Yeah.
been managing this project and sort of went ahead with the designer kind of in advance, so we're gonna switch that around. We're gonna pay them ourselves and they're gonna give James the money back that he already paid them.
oh,
If that makes sense. He just wanted to start it right away because he's very impatient.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so this is, but the price that he quoted was the same price from the beginning.
okay.
Why is there such a huge difference in prices? And is a half-inch thick enough?
Again, I'm sort of leaving this to James because he supposedly has experience with signage and graphic design. I couldn't really explain the specifics of why he chose one over the other except for the price. He did, as far as I understand, send a scope of work to each of the other 2 firms. And presumably that was the same thing that he had sent to the first firm, but I didn't see all that paperwork. I could certainly check it if that makes you want to hold on your vote.
Well, I'm just curious as to, it's a huge difference, and is it going to be a sturdy sign?
It looks like one was ordered to make sure it was durable enough.
Right.
If that is,
I think, and it was ordered from them, so I guess
Right.
we'll see whether it's sturdy enough.
Okay.
But he wanted to do one first as a test.
Okay.
So, and presumably he'll pay for that sign if we can't,
Okay.
if we have to order 3 others. So, all right, so I guess we can vote.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Rebellard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Ahern?
yes.
Okay, are there any other matters? You're thinking, Brad, I can see.
Oh, give me a minute.
Sure.
I'd rather not think.
Okay, anyone else have another matter while Brad's thinking?
Might just. March. No, we're good.
Okay, and are there any other town board comments? Or any town board comments? Okay, then I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Somebody has to know how to do it, so just, and the time is 8:20. Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Rebellard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Ahern?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.